Yeah, so we never thought like this is going to be a logistical chaos when we form a band. But because of that friendship, this band is still surviving, I think.
Jaipur Bytes, ladies and gentlemen. This is the official Jaipur Literature Festival broadcast from Jaipur, and we try and peek into behind the curtain of the creative mind to see how art is made, and then there's the objective interviewer, and then there's the rabid fan who's shaken his head to the point of destruction to absolutely incredible Malayalam rock. I have no idea what the words meant. I had to actually Google them. And then I understood the poetry. But first, it was a rock and roll, baby. I mean, Thaikkudam Bridge, ladies and gentlemen. Ashok, I know, and everyone here knows, but it'd be wonderful for those who are discovering Thaikkudam Bridge for the first time and are lazy enough not to genuflect at the altar of Google. Where did the name come from?
Actually, the band was not formed as a band. It was supposed to be a one-time venture. And it was, I think, the inception or the thought of this collaboration was formed by Govind and Siddharth. So we obviously, I know Govind and Siddharth way back from 2007. Govind and I we used to study in a school called School of Audio Engineering in Chennai. So Siddharth is Govind's cousin, and they wanted to do a project together. Siddharth had his circle of friends, and Govind obviously his. So we all thought we'll jam together somewhere, and it was supposed to be telecasted through Kappa Music Mojo. It was a program, Music Mojo, telecasted by Kappa TV. So Thaikkudam Bridge was the place where we all stayed and practiced for this series.
Right.
So initially we didn't have any name for the band because it was supposed to be a one-time gig. So I think Piyush was the one who came up with the name. So we were just brainstorming with idiotic names. I think what Govind logged on was Bankrupt.
Bankrupt.
Because his pocket went empty organizing this whole thing. So so we were all everyone in the band was coming from music. They were all, everyone had taken their own paths in music, earning their income. But then this blew off, and then we started doing full-time band things.
Before we go on, I have to underline the sheer creativity of band names south of the Vindhyas. I mean, there was Thermal and a Quarter who decided to name themselves because there were 3 Malayalam people and a quarter Mallu. So they decided Thermal and a Quarter. Avial decided to give us a taste, quite literally, of the South. And Mother Jane, of course, there was a glorious precedent, actually, of music that was so confidently yours and yet so global in character. I mean, we all remember Baiju's Carnatic classical solos to some hard-rocking rock and roll tunes. Were those influences for you as well? I mean, SAE, of course, is a legendary place, and the first few batches have quite literally shaped the sound of indie rock in that sense. So that, along with the kind of music that was already floating in the airwaves of the South, I mean, were there influences?
Definitely. Avial was a major influence, and there was also another band called 1380.
1380, yes.
So we were all fanboys. So I've heard stories that 1380 was actually, a couple of them in the band were huge Michael Jackson fans. And 1380, actually, if you write it, it's actually spelled bad, right? So that was the influence where they got their name. So I was just throwing it.
Yes, of course. No, this is what makes the conversation so good, because our inner pseudos need to be nourished.
I'm not even sure if the story is true. These are all like the things that you hear from the grapevine. So
it's a post-truth world. No, who cares about the truth?
No, I just don't want to put it as authorities out there. Me, someone being from South, telling a story about it.
It's so encouraging. It's so heartening to actually hear someone say that I am not sure of the information. Please check it today.
Yeah.
quite incredible. But sorry to interrupt. Did you go on?
So thing is, I think what influenced us more than anyone else was Avial. Because they showed us that you could sing a rock song in Malayalam.
Oh, yeah.
And Nada Nada, like before the track that we know it as right now, there was this video cassette that used to circulate.
Yeah.
And that lineup has changed because Anand used to sing in that. Tony was a DJ in that.
Yeah.
The lead singer right now. Joffy used to play drums. Rex was there, of course. And John P. Workey, who is responsible for Avial's actually creation.
That's right.
So when I was studying in SAE, I had to do a paper, like we all had to do projects. So one of them was to do a thesis on a band that we follow about a genre. So I chose Avial. So, and I knew a couple of, like the drummer of Avial, Mithun, is a personal friend. So I called him up and I arranged for a couple of interviews with Rex and Benny, who plays the bass. So I called him up and I was fascinated to know that the reason why Avial was formed was as a project, not as a project, as a CV for a producer. So he wanted to make a music video. So for that, he approached John P. Workey. So he just formed a band called Avial for, like, just like that. A name was given, Avial. They made a track, Nada Nada, and it became viral. So just like Thaikkudam Bridge, this was also like,
It's incredible how how history gets made in such an offhand way. Yeah?
Exactly.
It happened.
like, it's not meant to be. Sometimes it's meant to be.
It's so. Look at the thread that's tying three of the greatest bands in the South together. Avial was created as a CV. Thermal and a Quarter was created because they had named their band A Team. That couldn't be part of a competition, so they decided to name themselves Thermal and a Quarter. And Thaikkudam Bridge could not think of a better name than a practice pad. And then, how did the 16 people of Thaikkudam Bridge, was that a jigsaw puzzle?
17 people.
Sorry, yeah.
When we got together, it was 17. So this was a collaboration where everyone joined in. Like Govind, like it was, for me personally, it was like a reunion. Like we all met each other one-on-one, but all of us together in one room jamming together. It was like, I think Thaikkudam was formed in 2013. We had passed out in 2008. So it was like a reunion after 5 years. So we were all eager to meet everyone and jam. Like we spent 6-7 hours at a time every night in the studio just jamming or just talking about music. It was literally eat, sleep music at that time. So to relive that time, at least that was my idea going into this project. But yeah, so we never thought like this is going to be a logistical chaos when we form a band. But because of that friendship, this band is still surviving, I think.
Vian, part of that logistical chaos of 16 people, how does that feel being one of the younger ones? I mean, are you told to carry the drum kit and the bass amps, etc.? Does that happen to you?
No. I think there are many crazy responsibilities apart from the drum kit and the bass guitar and everything. But yeah, not at all easy. Over the years, only we know the internal chaos that is there with the music involved for all these years. But it's beautiful also at the same time. So.
I'm sure. But what does the jam pad look like? I mean, is it like a bungalow?
Jam pad is mostly empty because we practice very rarely.
No. But whenever we jam, so the musicians are inside and singers are outside. So if it is your song, only then you come inside, you sing, and then you go out again. Send the other singer in. So.
As sharp a musician's revenge on the singer as possible, no? They have to carry nothing, not even a mic. No?
Not in our band.
No?
They have to, when they are good-hearted people.
No. You were going somewhere where you could put yourself back.
But when they travel, it's lighter. It's easier for them in life. They don't have to check in a guitar. They don't have to carry the processor. Nothing. Just walk in. Me aur mera kapda.
And no angry comments about how their guitar is mistreated by airlines, etc. Wow, travel must be a bit of a pain, no?
It is. To tell you the truth.
But have you thought of the quartet, of the acoustic singer-songwriter sets with 3-4 people? Because I've never seen Thaikkudam Bridge less than 16, have I?
No, because there's a price to be paid. Part of our aura on stage is due to the versatility, because there are these many people who are coming in and pitching it their specialized genres, and that helps. That helps the audience. Everyone who is like, I always playfully say that if it's a Thaikkudam Bridge, there is at least one song that's going to pull you. So that is kind of a challenge also, because our audience spectrum is so wide. Sometimes we get clueless as to what to play, because our agenda is to entertain the 2-year-old to the 90-year-old. So it can get challenging, but at the same time, it's like we try to have fun, and it's a privilege to be standing on stage with my fellow musicians, who like every one of them, and it's actually that joy and that pull.
And it's incredible because obviously the history is rich. The boat song by itself, minus the rock bands, is in itself such an iconic thing. And I think everyone, Agam has a boat song.
Yes.
Aviel had Chekkele. You have something akin to a boat song in a way, Fish Rock. That tradition. Drawing a parallel line to what was happening in music when Thaikkudam Bridge was also coming up was the A.R. Rahman phenomenon, which was also bringing a lot of the spotlight on South Indian traditions of music that were not just the Carnatic classical music that is considered the intellectuals preserve and all of that. Now, was that also something that you think might have helped you with the audiences?
Definitely. A.R. Rahman's first release was Yodha from Kerala. So his influence has been, I think every musician who has lived through the era of 90s and 2000s cannot go without being influenced by A.R. Rahman or Ilayaraja.
You can't forget Tirura Tirura.
Exactly.
You cannot forget what Ilayaraja has done.
They'll say Vande Mataram. Like you can just throw names.
Orchestral arrangements. I mean, was that also a part of the scale that you decided for Thaikkudam Bridge, or was that an independence?
That's kind of a tricky question, because creative direction is mostly spearheaded by Govind and Mithun. They are the guys who, I wouldn't say mostly, like Vipin is also, like in Nama, Vipin has also pitched in with 4 songs. But creativity wise, these guys, more than them, it's us wanting them to do these things, because they have an intuition. And for an artist, that is very important. Like intuition in the sense that what will work, not just for the audience, for us also to play. Because me doing whatever I'm doing on stage is 90% because of I'm enjoying what I'm playing. If I'm not enjoying what I'm playing, none of this is going to be transcribed to the audience. So that space wise, it's kind of tricky, because Govind has his film music also, and Mithun also works with other band, Zootopia, his other band Zootopia, and he used to do a lot of film works. So everybody in this band, like Vian also does he has released 4 single albums, 4 standalone albums. His yes.
Which is a very interesting thing to ask Vian as well, Vian. 16 people, do you think there's enough space for creative expression as a musician? Do you feel the need to actually step out to have those single albums? Is it artistic expression, or is it because sometimes being part of a really big band can also feel like being lost a little?
I would not say lost. I think after joining Thaikkudam Bridge, I would say I've found myself musically that way. Because as Ashok spoke about Govind and Mithun and all the other musicians, I think personally I got to learn a lot from them. And working with Thaikkudam Bridge is a completely beautiful learning process. And all of that, if I can put it along with my creative zone for my songs, and because everyone has a different genre, a different feel to what they view music as or feel music as, and parallelly I would like to do that and like to live that journey, and where I get to experiment more in terms of music. So whenever there's a chance, I go for it. Yeah.
And then of course, the question that I have to ask musicians, which is that there is creative expression, there is wonderful romanticized ideas, and then there's internet bills and and fuel bills to pay. That's the line between the head and the heart that has to be sort of etched in stone a little to survive. What is it like being a professional band in the scenario that we're in?
We have been lucky actually with that regard, because mostly our main income source is from live music. That's like streaming services. Everything does generate income, but they are peanuts. You can't survive on those numbers. So we have been lucky. Even during COVID, we had enough commissioned works as not live works, but we were doing jingles. We did jingles for live Wildcraft. We did jingles for VPS. We did a couple of gigs for Red FM, stuff like that.
Right.
While COVID was happening, none of the other musicians were making money. None of them. I knew most of them. None of them were making money. Everyone was going broke. So being in that situation, I wouldn't say that I'm in a situation where I can answer that appropriately, right? Because there is this layer, like even in independent music is miles away from film music or Bollywood. But even in Bollywood, when you see, or in any film industry for that matter, the creamy layer survives well. The majority of the artists who are working there are below that. And it's actually them who should actually tell you the tales of...
Completely agree with that. But I'm sure there's one question that you might know the answer to, which is the fact that you mentioned COVID. COVID also threw up the intimacy of music, did it not? Music was being both created and consumed.
Yes.
Within the confines of four walls, mostly. It became the singer-songwriters' preserve, which then continued once COVID had gone as well. But it seems that the community experience of experiencing music seems to be coming back. So what are your views on that? The rise of the singer-songwriter, so to speak, or venues preferring more intimate, smaller gigs because they suddenly realized it's possible.
I think it's a question of whether you have guts to do it. But once you find that courage, you start doing it. And once you feel confident enough, you start sharing it with other people. So before COVID, this is again my presumption. What was happening was people were living a 9-to-5 job life. And after that, they did not have enough time to express themselves in any way, because life gets busy for those kind of people. But with COVID, you had enough time. I think they immersed themselves. They wanted to distract themselves somehow. And for those who are good with these kind of things, found a way, found a release, and they found joy. So they wanted to share that joy with other people. So that's how these things, like I was once way back, like I was talking to some friend of mine who was studying in Bangalore. So he was asking me, why do people from Northeast are such good singers, guitarists and drummers? So he himself, like we were conversing, it was a long talk. So later on, he himself told, like, because of the curfew and everything, everyone has to go back home. So they had to spend time somehow. So they ended up practicing. So they couldn't do anything else, right? So if you sit your ass down and you practice for 2-3 hours a day, you are supposed to be good, right?
No amount of 30-second reels can ever, compensate for the practice that you put in for hour upon hour.
Exactly.
Yeah, but finally, the question of language. You sing very proudly in Malayalam. There is no compromise on that. Mostly.
Yeah.
I was asking Parvaz the same question a while back as well. They write in Kashmiri. They write as Urdu. And I asked them, how important is it for them to have the audience understand what they are writing? Whether the word meaning is important, whether the word feel is important. Khalid said, for me, the feel is important, because if it feels right, they'll probably want to find out. Do you think audiences today will make that effort for something that they might not understand? Feel.
To me, it's personally, again, the thing is, if I predominantly go for music over lyrics in the beginning, then something or the other strikes me, and then I dig deeper, then I try to understand what the lyricist has meant. But to enjoy art, for that matter, not just music, movies, painting, sculpture, whatever it is, the the person who is trying to enjoy it comes up with his own ideas, or what word am I looking for here? His own aesthetics to come up with why he's
Aesthetics.
why he is enjoying that piece of art is something very personal to that person himself. So I've heard this saying in Malayalam where the art belongs to the public as soon as it's being released, right? It's not the artist's art anymore. So I believe in that truly, because your job was to create it and release it. Your job is done. Now to interpret it, that's the audience's job. That's their
Couldn't agree
thing to
more.
do.
Couldn't
Yeah.
agree more. And finally, we're living in a world where, being a part of a community, being a part of a template, being in a box is very, very important. Unless you define yourself, it's very, very difficult. So you have to wear the same kind of shoes, except that they can be different colors. They have to be the same shoes, which leads to a lot of hesitation for a lot of people who are writing their own music, because it might not adhere to the norms that are set, the boxes that are made already. Thaikkudam's never fitted into a box. Obviously, 16 people fitted anyway. But what would your advice be to a hesitant new musician who wants to write his own thing or her own thing or their own thing, but is hesitating just a little because it doesn't fit into a formula?
Okay.
Vian, you want to answer this?
Yeah, well played.
I'm-
Like, you senior.
No, actually, this is something that no one should care about when you're creating something. Like, say, for example, when you're making a family, when you're making a baby, you don't want it to be boy or a girl. You don't. I wouldn't think that is the right way to do it, right? Baby is born, then you see whether it's a boy or a girl, then you raise it, right? Same goes with art. I don't think we should complicate it with such.
At the end of it, it's a simple thing.
Yeah,
Makes you
exactly.
smile is good.
Exactly.
Even if it makes you cry, it's good. As long as it evokes emotion. And,
Sadness is important. Like silence is important for music to be spoken up. Sadness is needed for happiness.
absolutely. As in life, so in art. Simple things. Because sometimes we tend to complicate it because we think that we can. But probably a good idea to just listen, which is one of the most uncomplicated things to do. But we seem to be finding it very, very hard. So please listen to Thaikkudam Bridge's music. It's absolutely incredible. And for you sparing the time for us.
Please,
And,
it was an honor. It was a pleasure, actually.
Absolutely wonderful. That's Thaikkudam Bridge, ladies and gentlemen, on the Jaipur Bytes podcast. If you like it, you know what to do. Comment and like, share, subscribe, whatever it is that you want to do, you know. Thank you for watching. I'm hoping that it triggers thought just a little bit. Thank you for watching.